March 8th, 2024. The plan is to take the boat from Clearwater and go up to Cape San Blas, where Aunt Gloria is renting a house up there for the entire month of March. We went up there last year and had a terrific time. So I'm going to take the boat up, leave Friday after work, as soon as I can get out of work. Mom and Dad are going to drive up there, and so for a week it'll just be Aunt Gloria and Uncle Dave with Mom and Dad and me. So we should have a really nice visit. The weather forecast is not looking really great. It looks like on Friday after work it's going to start off really slowly. I'll probably have to motor into the night, and then over the course of the night the wind is going to start building, coming out of the southeast, which is really nice. It's supposed to build to around 20 knots or so, which is okay if it's on your aft quarter or behind you, but I don't want it to turn around and be on my nose. However, there's a front rolling through that's supposed to arrive up there somewhere around dawn on Sunday. And once that front rolls through, the wind's going to shift around and come out of the northwest, which would put it right on my forward quarter, which is a really bumpy ride. I should be able to sail into it, but it's going to be rough. So that's the plan. This is the Navionics chart. Looks like it's 173 nautical miles from Clearwater Inlet to the Cape itself. To go across the shoals, it gets really shallow up there. So if there's any wave action, that's going to be amplified by the shallow water, and I'm sure there's a current running through there. I believe it's tidal based, but I'm not sure if it's coming in or out. I hope it's going with me. That would help. So that's the plan. I'm going to head out of here Friday after work, and I should arrive up there probably somewhere around noon on Sunday. But I'm going by myself. Rest is going to be at a premium. I'm going to sleep while I can. And so that's the sail plan. Hello. Just leaving Clearwater. It is March the 8th, 2024. On my way to Cape San Blas and anchor inside Eagle Harbor. It is about 170 miles to the edge of the Cape, and I'm just leaving. I left right at 4 o'clock, I believe. 4:30 maybe. And so far there's not a lot of wind blowing out here. I knew it was going to be calm in the beginning, but it should pick up overnight. Tomorrow should be really blowing pretty good at 15 to 20 on the aft quarter, but as of right now I'm motor sailing in to the wind. Looks like the wind's coming off in this direction right now, so I've got the sail set up to motor sail. We're pushing just less than 2,000 RPMs, making about 5.4 knots. But this should be a spectacular evening. Sunset, the water is just like glass. There's not any swells at all. I'm just beyond Clearwater on the horizon back there. So the trip should take around 32 hours. And so far I'm motor sailing and looking forward to a beautiful evening. Hopefully I get some rest tonight, because tomorrow afternoon is going to be a little bit bumpy, I think. About 6:30, sunset number 1 on my trip to San Blas. Sun's starting to set. It's a little hazy on the horizon, so it's not as spectacular as I had hoped, but it's still a good one. The wind's picked up just a tad, still motor sailing, making 5.2 knots. One interesting thing that I've discovered was there were some crab pots out here, and there's a pretty significant current coming out of the southwest, running at least a knot, but I'm kind of going perpendicular to it, but it's still slowing me down just a little bit. I think I'm going into it just about maybe 20 degrees. But night one, wind's picking up just a tad, so we're cruising right along. So it's about 8 o'clock, I think. The wind's picked up considerably. I've got the motor off now, right on the beam. Autopilot's doing okay, but I'm kind of worried about her. We're doing 6 knots, 6.3, 5.9. Making good time, but the bonus here is that it's really foggy outside. So I don't know how I'm going to sleep because I can't see to the horizon, so I think it's going to be a long night. But as of right now, cruising along pretty good. 6 knots. I'm making a little bit westerly course because I think that the wind's going to shift and be behind. I want it behind me when it gets strong, so I'm taking a little bit of westerly course for now, but cruising along, 6 knots, wind on the beam, in the fog. So this is a new one for us. So it's 8:30 the next morning. I didn't get much sleep last night. I've slept maybe 3 hours, like 45-minute increments. It's pretty rolly out here, getting bounced around pretty good. We're doing 5.4 knots, a little bit downwind. Power wise, we used 30 amp hours of power last night. The sun is just now coming up to where I'm running the refrigerator again, and it's producing about 5 amps right now. But it's a beautiful morning. Seas are kind of tossing around a little bit. Got second reef in. I put it in about right before dawn, maybe about 5:30 or 6. Wind picked up considerably, so we're going downwind a little bit. It's on the aft quarter. Seas look like they're about 4 feet. Tossing us around pretty good. But we're not pressing at all, so I'm making 5.4 knots, which is fine. Bounced around a little bit, but I'm trying to take some naps as I can today. It looks like it's blowing about 15, 18. it's 2:30 in the afternoon. I was seasick this morning. Didn't sleep very good last night. I never threw up, but I finally ate a sandwich. This is the first food I've had since I left. I had 3 corn dogs at about 2 o'clock on Friday. But I'm cooking along at about 5.5 knots. I've got 2 reefs in the mainsail, but the Genoa is all the way out. The wind's coming just off behind the beam. Feel like it's blowing 15, maybe 18. Autopilot's been working like a champ the whole time, but I didn't get very much sleep, and boy did I not feel good this morning. Like I said, I never threw up, but I didn't feel like doing anything. I slept right here on the floor of the cockpit for a while. I slept down inside for a while. I'd say I got maybe 3 or 4 hours sleep last night. So this morning I took two naps where I don't know if I was fully asleep, but I got some rest anyway. But this morning when I got seasick, it had picked up, like it was blowing 25. Well, maybe not 25, 20 anyway. Ooh, that was a big one. Blowing 20 anyway. And I had just about 1/3 of the head sail out and 2 reefs in the main, and even it was let out, and I was still cooking along to the point where the autopilot was having trouble keeping up. So it died off a little bit, and then after I took a couple naps and had a sandwich, then I came back out here and I set my little perch here for a long time. The wind's a little chilly, but the sun's nice. All the batteries are topped off charge. It's 2:30 after running all night. So yeah, everything's rolling along. I've got 60 miles to go for the Cape, which at this speed it should put me in there just short of 12 hours, maybe 11 hours. So it'll put me in there about 1:30 in the morning. Boy, there's some big waves out there. I wish the camera would pick up the scale of them, because as I'm sitting here in the cockpit, as I'm sitting here in my perch, some of these waves behind me are even with my eyes. So they seem to be dying off a little bit, but that was from this morning when the wind was blowing so strong. But this has been my view all morning. Still cruising along. There's a squall right over there. I've been watching it. I think I'm going to zip in front of it before it comes through. But that is clear sky. That's where I'm heading. Still a bit overcast. Looks like there's another one about that way. Just dodging these out here today. But this just started. but this may be like the most fun sailing, like perfect conditions. 15 to 18 just after the beam, doing 5.86 knots, just super day. And the good news is that I'm not going to get in that. Well, I may have spoken too soon. So behind me is the squall that went past. It's long gone now. I can't really see it, but looking out in front of me, that does not look good. It just looks, the cloud, it's been overcast all day, but the cloud cover just looks denser here, like it could rain out of this. It's very hazy. It's been foggy for the last couple, for the last day and a half. But I have a feeling I'm going to get wet at some point tonight. I'm still making a little over 5 knots, just nice and easy. The boat's nice and balanced. Autopilot's handling it. The waves have died down. It's just a nice, beautiful sail, but I have a feeling it's going to rain. But I guess the boat could use washing off. It's covered in salt water from all the spray from this morning. It was pretty intense. So, oh, I heard thunder. Yep, I'm gonna get it. Stay tuned. Well, it's here. I just came under that canyon back there. And the wind shifted to my nose. That's what I'm heading into. Motor started, 2 reefs. I'm going to put the head sail back out. But yeah, this next 10 hours is going to be fun. Yep, and I don't think this is a squall either, so it's raining pretty hard, the wind's blowing pretty hard. I'm motoring with the sail up, and we're doing 36, so this should be fun. How long our little visitor stays. So I had a pretty rough night last night. I've been motoring like this since 4:30 when that front rolled through. The wind came directly in my face, and it took me 16 hours to go 50 miles. So right now I'm just rounding the Cape. What I failed to mention was that when the sun went down and it was dark outside, I could no longer keep my eyes on the horizon, and boy, did I get seasick. Like, it just grew on me and grew on me to the point where I threw up over the rail 3 different times. So I hadn't eaten anything. I was exhausted. I only slept maybe 20 minutes on 3 occasions. I had some cheese and crackers, threw those up. I tried to drink a Red Bull because I was exhausted, and that didn't last long either. So it was a miserable night all the way around. But when sun came up, the beautiful sunrise, and there was a pod of dolphins out off the bow, and it was kind of welcome to Cape San Blas after a miserable night. So we just came around the end of San Blas Peninsula. I don't know what it's called, but there's a cape right there. This is all the state park. We're on the inside now, protected from all the madness that we went through last night. And then up there ahead, about 4 miles, you can see where the trees narrow, maybe because it's tiny on the camera. That's where the anchorage is, so I'm cruising in. I'm going to be putting away some stuff, get ready to get the dinghy out, put up the No Shoes Nation flag. But this is calm sailing, flat, protected, downwind, 6 knots, just perfect. Going the other way last night, not so much. There's a cool sundog, one of the most brilliant ones I've ever seen right now. But I'm gonna point this in the camera and see what happens. So I don't know if you can see that or not. Try from over here. I arrived into the Cape San Blas State Park about 11:30 on Sunday, so the passage took 5 hours short of 2 full days. I traveled 205 miles in 42 and a half hours, which makes the average speed 4.7, which is less than I anticipated. I had some parts of it where I was cruising along above 6. Really enjoyable sailing, and then slogging through the surf, crossing the shoals. The current was against me, 20 knots of wind, and motoring dead into it all night. I cannot understate how grueling that was, but I was rewarded with a beautiful, beautiful anchorage. No problems with the weather after that. Things calmed down. Even we had some easterly winds where this anchorage is not really protected from the east. It still didn't matter. There was nothing, any substance of it. So I anchored, inflated the dinghy, mounted the motor, had no troubles. It was the first time I'd done all of that by myself, but it was just a lot of work. I was busy, but I got it done without issue. We had a nice visit. We had no further problems after that, so there's not a lot to share. But they had a nice condo there, a beautiful view of the water. The beach was magnificent. Not very many people there. We fished off the beach. We caught about a 2-foot across Devil Ray. We just had a nice visit, nice family time with the 5 of us. So at that point, it was time to head back. The weather forecast heading back looked like it was really calm. I knew that I would have to sail into it in the first part of it, and then it was going to calm down. And I thought I could get far enough south to be able to cut across the wind and get 5, 8, maybe 10 knots on the beam where I could make really good time. But at that point, I took out on Thursday morning at 4:30 in the morning, on my way home for the return passage. Just clearing the shoals south of Cape San Blas, and the wind is coming right out of the southeast. Into it, I'm going to basically take this south-southeast course probably all day just to get as far south as I can, and then I'm going to turn east later on this evening. I'm supposed to do this the rest of the evening, the rest of the day into the evening, and then it'll kind of die down, so I think I'll be motoring in the summer. But it's blowing maybe 10 or so, and I'm close hauled into it. Waves are kind of slowing down at 4.2 knots, which is fine. And I'm heeled over 30 degrees. So the boat's leaning pretty good, which makes it a little bit uncomfortable, but other than that, this is a nice, beautiful day. It's a little chilly. I've got this fleece on and I'm comfortable, so I'm just going to keep slogging along. So 4 knots. I'm really close hauled, like I'm in irons mostly. I think I just stall. Same conditions, like it looks like 10 to 12 now, and I'm just beating so close. But the interesting thing is cooking lunch. And for lunch is chicken quesadilla. Chicken quesadilla soup. Give you an idea of how much we're healing. The stove is gimbaled over. So this is an adventure. I sailed about 8-9 hours, beating closely into the wind after I got out of Cape San Blas, and the wind finally died at the point where I was making below 2.5 knots, so I had to start the motor. I cruised it between 3.2 and 3.7 for hours and hours, not making much progress, but I'm not really in a hurry. So I just take my time, but 2.5 knots isn't going to get it. I need to go to work on Monday. So I started the motor, and I'm pounding directly into it right now, making about 5.3, 5.4 knots. But I'm not headed in a direct line to Clearwater. I'm still taking more southerly course because the wind's supposed to shift and come out right out of the south. Light winds right out of the south, so I want to make sure I have 5 to 8 knots right on the beam will still push me along at the right rate. So I can sail. I don't want to motor the whole way home. That is suck. So I'm trying to get as far south I can so I have a nice angle on those light winds that are coming tonight and into tomorrow. But I've got a long way to go. I'm not making very good progress at all. I took a little nap this afternoon for about 45 minutes, which was really nice. I think I'm going to maybe start fishing here in a little bit. I don't know. Now that I'm motoring, I might just do that. So if I actually catch something, I can stop the motor a little bit. So we'll see how that goes. Looks like I've got, I don't even know what time it is, 3 or 4 hours before dark. But that's state about 10 hours in. 12 hours in, and I'm not making much progress at all, averaging way less than 5 knots. Morning, Friday morning. I should get in tonight around 5:30 or so. I've been motoring for a long time, all night and through the evening because the wind just died away. But this morning it is just beautiful out here. Really hazy. Residual swells somewhere a long way away. What a gorgeous morning. Last night the stars were magnificent. There were a lot of fishing boats out there anchored, so I had to keep an eye on them, but I slept quite a bit last night. But I'm due in about 5 o'clock. I've still got the mainsail up, but it's not doing anything, and it hasn't for a long time. I think at one point last night it was helping a little bit, but so I've just been motoring most of the way home, which is okay, I guess. It sure beats the trip here. But what a beautiful, beautiful morning. The last leg of the trip was pretty easy. I continued to motor. The wind shifted around to come out of the south. Just as the forecast had said, it was helping me along a little bit, so I was making even better time. Dialed the motor back a little bit. But this is the entry back into the slip. I arrived At about 5:30, a little bit before 6 o'clock, making a 209-mile passage in 37 hours. So it was a full 6 hours faster on the way home than it was on the way there. Hope you enjoyed the video. I sure had fun making it. Thank you.